My story kind of begins like where everybody's story begins, like at rock bottom. A whole bunch of stuff had happened in a really short period of time. I wound up becoming a single parent, lost my job. And as I was leaving, my former boss was like, you should really check out Central. And at the time I heard her, but I wasn't ready. So it took a while trying to fix certain things by myself and, using my own will to try and correct the problems in my life. And it didn't work. And after all of these months, after having lost this job, I was still soul sick. So at some point, I just decided maybe I should check out Central Christian. When Judd asked if anybody wanted to dedicate their life, it took me a couple of months before I was actually willing to do that. And I raised my hand, and I couldn't even say the prayer out loud without crying, but I just listened to the other voices. That's kind of when my journey with Christ started. And when I went in there, when I got involved, I really got involved. I joined the women's ministries, and I went through first step and second step and small group. I felt like I was doing everything that God wanted me to do. I started tithing, I started doing all of these things. I tried everything I could, and still there was that nagging feeling. And one day Judd gave this really awesome sermon about the Bob Prayer Challenge. Bob had been challenged to pray for the same thing every day for 6 months, and he prayed for Africa. And over the course of the 6 months of prayer, he wound up donating all these pharmaceuticals to this orphanage in Africa, and meeting all the heads of state, and ultimately wound up freeing prisoners. And it was just so incredible to me that if this were real, the power that God had, to create all of these dominoes that just line up and fall into place. And I took the challenge really seriously, and I too started to pray for Africa, mostly because I thought I have absolutely no relation to Africa whatsoever. I don't know anybody in Africa. I've never been there. And I just prayed relentlessly. And I started a new job, and on the first day of school, there were 42 African refugees. They had only been in the country maybe 3 or 4 days, and I spent the first few weeks with them trying to just get them to stop crying and stop clinging to fences. So I started to kind of get into action, knowing that that they needed help, And we were able to give them all books and dental screenings and assistance finding their family, and it's just amazing. And to watch these little people who came here so scared just blossom. And to think it all started with a prayer, a snarky prayer, me praying okay, God, we'll see. I'm gonna pray for Africa too, just to challenge you, just to challenge your ability. I love every second of it. It's given me a whole new purpose in my life and a direction. It's really just taken me out of the pain that had started, that originated my journey. It's just turned into something so much bigger than me. I get to be an ambassador in a sense, not just for my school, for the United States, and for God.